Hi, I'm David Norris and I'm serving up the perfect podcast, Pompey Platter with Russ, Daz and Haz. Play up, Pompey.
He used to be a waiter, did David Norris? Well, he's served up the perfect cocktail here.
Jarrett back to goal, Lang. Needs a bit of help. Good this from Lang. What can he do? Still there, Lang. Lang! You wouldn't believe it! Cross comes into the near post. Headers into the net! Shaughnessy! Surely Pompey are heading for the championship! Portsmouth are promoted as League One champions.
Good evening and welcome to the Pompey Patter podcast. We're on episode 35. It's player ratings with Neil Allen. Obviously, every week I'm joined by Haz and Ruz. How you doing, guys? You okay?
All good, thank you.
All good, thank you.
And as the title suggests, we're also joined by the News chief sports writer and author of 5 Pompey books. It's Neil Allen. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Thanks for inviting me on. Thank you.
No problem whatsoever.
Pleasure having it, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming on. So obviously we're going to start with a little review of Hull City. It's going to be a very short one as I don't think much stuff happened in the game and we just want to get through to the player ratings, which will be next. And then we'll finish off with Harry's Who Am I? And then any other business, if anything's got anything to bring.
I think you've forgotten one thing, Daz, haven't you?
Well, I've got it now. No, that's fine. Anyway, so what we're going to do next.
Excellent.
So Russ then. You can do Hull City if you want.
Okay, well, Hull obviously needed to come down and probably win the game, really, to stay up. It was actually nice to see a lot of Hull fans in the fan zone. I don't think I've ever seen so many away fans in the fan zone before. I don't know if you boys are there more often than I am, so...
well, especially obviously because of their tops, they stick out a bit more, don't they?
Yeah.
So there might be away fans in there. I think Leeds they had a few in there, but no.
I think the weather helps. Everyone had just t-shirts on, didn't they, instead of coats and that. Just we didn't really turn up first half at all. They snatched the goal and just decided to tie and waste from then on. And I don't blame them either, to be quite honest with you, the predicament they're in. Second half came out looking a lot better, a bit more of an entertaining game. Sadie come on, probably had one of his best games, deserved his goal, and then the game just died out from there. Really, I think they knew Luton were getting absolutely smashed, so they didn't need to chase the goal.
It was when they brought on their centre half, wasn't it? And then went 5 at the back. That's when you knew that they were happy just to sit back. It felt like at the end as well. We kind of were half-heartedly trying to attempt to score, but we weren't really that bothered.
You could tell there was a couple of Bishop was desperate to score a goal. He was getting so annoyed that nothing was coming to him. But then others just didn't look like they were quite happy. It must be a weird situation though, and if you score, you can send not only the players on the pitch down, but like the fans. And I don't know how you would feel. Do you just get on with it as a professional? Do you feel bad? Do you not care? It's an interesting predicament to be in, to be honest.
Yeah. I suppose maybe that's Neil. Like, I don't know if you've asked that question to any the players. Like, do they think about that sort of thing when in a game situation, or is it just concentrate on what they're doing and try and score, whatever?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because there were in the south, standing in front of the press box, there was a fan getting very irate about Pompey knocking the ball around with a few minutes to go rather than attacking, but. Pompey have done this season and they're safe. It's I don't want to say they're going through the motions, but it's just a difficult mentally, isn't it? It's difficult. What do they do now? And I thought Josh Murphy had one of his worst games of the season on Saturday, but it's not. It's a bit harsh to criticise them because it's mission accomplished, isn't it? And we remember Wigan last year when Pompey turned up hungover. Basically, and you can't fault them. They won the league. It's fair enough, and then they actually raised their game for the last game at Lincoln to ruin Lincoln's playoff chances. So it's just what it is, isn't it? It wasn't a great game. fair play to Hull. I thought that their fans were very good. They turned up in fancy dress, didn't they, for the occasion? And the last day drama didn't quite happen in the end, did it? But it was just nice that Pompey were not part of that last day drama, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was.
I thought Hull's fans were probably the best we've had at Fratton Park this season.
They're good, weren't they? Yeah.
I know. Obviously, with the fact that they had something riding on it, obviously massively helped. But I thought the fact that they brought that many down, it looked like an away day sellout for them. I thought it was a good atmosphere from them, especially when they scored.
Well, that's when they. I mean, I wasn't really bothered going into the game. I did like the fact that we had like a sort of a deciding factor. I mean, if we'd have won the game, it wouldn't have mattered how anyone else would have got on in and around them. The Hull would have been down. Unless there's a massive goal swing. I don't know what the situation definitely was, but I wasn't really that bothered about the game. And then when they scored, I saw them celebrate. I kind of was like, I want to send them down now. I want to win the game. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but when the game finished, I mean, it was. I was looking back on it like the day after and thinking I was quite disappointed after the final whistle went, and I'm actually quite glad I was, because it's like it just showed that I still had some like skin in the game, and then the fact that I mean. I was quite not disappointed by the performance, but you knew that it could be better. But then you look back and you think, like, I mean, you can't blame the players. We were safe for 2-3 games left.
The way it went is exactly how, as a club, we'd have wanted, right? Because obviously Luton, who have got parachute payments, are the ones that went down. So that kind of, as a club, it benefits us the most.
Yeah, Luton going down. For me, I was happy with Luton or Hull going down because they've each got money to spend, hence Hull spending 4.5 million at Kamara. As you say, Luton got the parachute payments. So I was happy either of them. I mean, not even Pompey got successive relegations from the Premier League and the Championship. Not even Pompey did that. So well done, Luton.
Bad,
well done.
Yeah, and I was kind of glad Preston stayed up, because I can't see Preston getting any better next season.
Good point, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I mean, you don't want to look at it like, obviously in your second season, you want to kind of think you're going to be a bit more safe and have it in your hands a bit more, not rely on other games. But I mean, for a good couple of more seasons, I think it's not like we're going to be breaking away and maybe going for the playoffs. So you kind of still want those teams that.
You just think, how much did Luton spend? How much did Cardiff spend? How much did Hull spend? And they literally stayed up by goal difference. I mean,
mad. Yeah.
It's getting the right player, though, isn't it?
It's spending it the right way, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could have done better in in the summer. But I think we corrected that with January and getting like particular players in, which like really helped us stay up. And obviously Bishop coming back in November helped as well, didn't it? Was Neil, what was the like atmosphere like with the whole journalists? Were they all nervous, or were they sort of just?
I don't. They didn't have that many there, to be honest. I've no idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's interesting because there are a lot of nationals there as well, like the Athletic and people who don't normally come to Fratton Park. So they were there for the big final day. So yeah, there weren't really that many local ones. These days, you don't get that many local journalists going around the country. I remember last year, 8 clubs turned up without a local paper or local website coming with them, which is really sad. So the coverage for a lot of these clubs these days don't really exist. It was a shame because it was set up for a big finale, wasn't it? And as one of you guys said, that Luton got battered, so it never happened.
it was done by half time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, but if Pompey had won, Hull would have gone down, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Their fans did go dead quiet once Sadie scored.
Yeah.
And I just kept watching one bloke with like the hands on his head the whole last half hour of the game, or it was.
Nerves fully kicking in, isn't it?
Neil, I got a quick question. The player of the season. Sorry to move on. Is it a club thing where, because it used to always be, it was presented when the players were on the pitch in their full kit, and it always just looked so much better, where now it's done pre-game, and no one seems to know it's even happened.
Very spot on. They messed it up, Pompey. Absolutely messed it up this week. Basically, they get a list of all the winners. It's very well organised, so we're all in a line, all in order at the side of the pitch. And the guy on the tannoy or the PA system, he announces the winner. And it's like so-and-so, Chichester Supporters Club, Player of the Year, but so he's doing that. And I was at the back of the queue behind somebody from Scandinavia Supporters Club, presumably from Scandinavia. And the guy didn't read our ones out. He said, and finally, we're sort of like, wait a minute. So they didn't announce Josh Murphy as our winners.
I didn't think they did. It was really bizarre.
No, they completely screwed up. So basically, Josh Murphy was given it in complete silence with it not being announced. And they always leave the news one at the very end because the club also regard the news one as the main Player of the Year trophy because it's been going since 1979. So that's recognised as the main one. So they leave that to the end for the grand unveiling, lift up the trophy, show it to the fans, blah, that sort of thing. But they forgot to announce it.
Yeah, it was bizarre. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it was an absolute mess. And Max from the football club, in fairness, he was getting on the mic on his earpiece and trying to indicate to the guy in the PA to change it and do something, but he was oblivious. And so I feel sorry for the Scandinavia guy in front of me. I only came from Waterlooville. He came from Scandinavia, and it wasn't even announced.
Yeah, that's a bit of a ball.
So yeah, I'm glad you noticed that. It was a bit bizarre. It was just like, this is a player's big moment. This is you want him to hold it up and all the fans cheer.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know we given. I watched you walk back with the trophy and was like, oh, "We've done it."
Yeah. So it was all a bit bizarre. And at the end of the game, because he's a lovely guy, Josh Murphy, I gave him the trophy. Said, "Take that home for a year, then we'll come and get it in a year's time." So that's what you do because you want the players to take it home. And he was. I did an article. It's the first time he's ever won a Player of the Year trophy.
Wow.
So he was absolutely chuffed. Very modest guy as well. So it was he was my choice, and I'm glad his name is on that trophy because there's so many quality players: Dazoo, Primus, David James, Michael Doyle, Christian Burgess, Guy Whittingham, Alan McLaughlin, all these Pompey greats over the years. And I think it's brilliant that somebody like Josh Murphy is deservedly alongside them now.
Yeah, totally agree. He was ours as well. He was our player of the season.
And also, I'll be saying this last few days, he's got to be Pompey's best winger since they left the Premier League.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think we said that last week, didn't we? Yeah.
Just about beats Jack Compton.
Oh,
yeah, just about. But that's it. When I started supporting Pompey, we had your Paul Halls and Benny Christensen and things like that. So it's a throwback to the old wingers, players that actually get their head down and take a player on. And then they can either go down the outside and cross the ball in, or he's comfortable tucking in and then just hitting one. It's sort of, and I know there's that debate, isn't there, about Pep Guardiola style of football, when it's kind of killing the game a little bit, I suppose, in a way for some people. And Josh Murphy is that player that gets you off my feet then, off my seat. And I know he didn't do a great deal against Hull, but you let him off for the amount of stuff he did this season. And every time he gets the ball, we just think something might happen.
Yeah, if he got injured, Pompey can't replace him.
No.
To be fair, after having Owen Dale and Ryan Williams, it's nice to have a winger that will actually beat their man.
To be fair, Owen Dale got one assist, I think, in his year at Pompey. But no,
great return that then.
But you think also, if anything happened to Murphy, you'd have Paddy Lane or Cade Gordon or Harvey Blair. Different worlds, I'm afraid.
And that's what this summer's about. Really, is about bridging the gap between what our first team is and it's the same with with Callum Lang. Is you need a better backup than Sadie. Personally, for me,
O'Sheath was a backup, and he ran around a lot, but that was about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about making the gap. There is going to be a couple of first teamers where you need to be better, but a lot of it, I think, is improving what's behind in case, because if Murphy did get injured this season, we'd have been screwed. So
yeah. How can you replace that? Teams, when they normally go up to the Championship or the Premier League or whatever, they struggle to score goals. Yet Pompey's got a player there who had 21 goal contributions, which is staggering for a side that struggled for the vast majority of the season. And what I also I said this the other day on the Solent podcast, he's not a flat track bully. And by that I mean, even against top sides, he does well. Whereas you look at someone like Ronan Curtis, who did very well for Pompey over a long period, he never raised his game in the big games, the big moments, Wembley or Sunderland in the playoffs or whatever. He never raised his game for the big teams. Whereas someone like Gareth Evans did, Jamal Lowe did, Josh Murphy does. They've got that special factor.
What I love about Josh Murphy as well is that it's because with some wingers you have to get them in the right scenario, like so you have to get the ball to them at a particular time for them to look good. Where with Josh Murphy, he can just drop off and you can just give him the ball and you just let him go.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about a certain system to suit him. Really, I think
he's quick. He's 2-footed. He can cross low. He can cross high. He can shoot. The wing backs don't know what to do with him. With Curtis, they knew he wants to cut inside. I just need to show him down the wing, and he can't cross with his left foot.
And with Murphy, where he goes both that kind of technique, he reminds me of Son, because Son is he is right-footed, but he can happily go either way, and the way he crosses the ball across the face of the goal is very similar to Son as well. And I'm not saying he is Son. I'm saying the style of footballer and the kind of winger that he is quite similar.
It's like I've said it like endless amount of times. It's the way he can get down the wing, and then how he puts the ball in. He can keep it down, hit it so hard. Like I think it was it Callum Lang's goal against Bristol City? I think was a prime example of how he could put the ball in from that area, like split the defence, and Callum Lang was able to just tap it in. And then obviously him striking the ball. Look at like the Preston goal. How he can just hit it so hard and keep it low. I think I only saw him maybe once or twice hit it and it looked like it skied. So, yes, he's a perfect winger in my eyes.
And he's the only person I've seen manage to shoot and sky out of the Milton end as well. So,
which was done a bit more when there wasn't a lid on there, when there wasn't a roof on there. It's done a bit more for not as much now. So, right. Anything else about Hull?
Only the fixtures are at end of season. It was our last predictions, wasn't it? So we have the updated table.
So let's just go to player rating.
So I predicted a draw for that. So me and Daz, for anyone that didn't know, me and Daz were joint bottom on 27 points each. So I predicted a draw. So I nicked a point. So I became second. So Daz unfortunately has a forfeit, which he doesn't know, but our very special guest, Neil, is going to tell Daz his forfeit live.
Have I got to get a haircut or something?
No.
You've
got to recreate John Marcus's miss against Charlton.
No. Right, you do not know how easy that would be for me.
I'm only joking, right?
Centre back.
This is your official forfeit now. Right. John Messino's given me this. Right. He said, you have to wear a Southampton shirt and put a photo of yourself wearing it on X, saying, "I can't wait to show who my true allegiance is for the South Coast Derby next season." And you have to make this photo in the shirt your profile on X until the end of May.
End of May. All right, this year.
Oh, no. End of May 2026.
No. I don't know whether they told you, like, obviously, because I'm from Winchester, like half my family is.
That's why we came out of it, because we thought it'd be easy for you to get a scum shirt.
That's all right. To be honest, like, don't get me wrong, that is going to be painful and stuff like that. But I thought it was going to be a lot worse, to be honest.
Oh, well, you better not lose next year then. I'll make it 10 times worse.
We'll step it up. We'll step it up.
I said this at the start of the season. I went, like, I better not regret, because I was the one who said, let's do a forfeit, whoever finishes bottom. Like, I've just done myself in.
And also,
okay.
Daz was probably the most positive person with the predictions and finished last.
Josh Murphy was going to score every week. I think it was the first week I took him out, he scored, did he?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm pretty sure I can find someone around here with a Saints top.
Good man.
All right, okay. When have I got to do that? As soon as possible?
As soon as possible,
Actually,
mate.
As soon as possible.
What if I do it on May the 31st?
No, then it'll be the end of June.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll sort that out. Yeah, cheers, guys. Right, anyway. I'm going to go home and cry. I'm at home. I'm all 6 and 7s right now. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on to player ratings. I'll hand this over to Harry, and I'm going to see if I can find a Saint shirt somewhere.
Yes, so this is the whole reason why we got Neil on the show, was as he does player ratings all season, we thought, why not do it with him? So we're going to go through by position. So we'll do our keepers, then defenders, then midfielders, then forwards/strikers. We'll each say our rating, and then if there's anything, I would imagine we'll all be about the same, but there might be a left field view. And if there
I've been pretty harsh, I ain't gonna lie.
I think I've been harsh but fair, I think, on some of mine. But if there's anything like a bit left field, we'll quickly talk about it. But bearing in mind, Portsmouth fielded 39 players this season, not including academy players.
Oh, are you including people like Sorensen as well then?
Yeah, of course.
Oh dear.
So the only person we haven't included that played for us was Harry Clout.
Yes.
Everyone else is included.
Okay.
So Tom Lowry, Ben Stevenson, Elias Sorensen. So we've gone the whole hog. We've gone for everyone.
Milosevic and Boat obviously didn't play, did they? So
yeah, they have to have played. Yeah. They have to have played a minute for the club.
Even though Milosevic seems to be a world beater without ever playing for Pompey.
Yeah, to be fair, Bowat gets a 10 because if he didn't get injured and do his patella, we wouldn't have seen Bishop. So he gets a very good thank you. Right, so we'll start off with our goalkeepers. So we'll go. Let's go. Ruz, Daz, Neil, and then myself, and we'll just stick to that order. Is that all right for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, fine.
So first of all is Nico Schmid.
I've given him. I wanted to give him a 9, but gave him an 8. I don't know if 9 was a bit too high because he had a couple of the offish games, didn't
he? Yeah, I gave him a 9. Mainly, I know, as Russ said, I know he made a couple of iffy mistakes every now and again, but I think how important he has been for us, and I don't think if we'd had anyone else in the sticks, I tried to think what would have happened.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9. I don't normally give half ratings when I do my ratings, but for the end of season ones, I do. But I'm going to give, I've got some half ratings for some of the others, but I've given him a 9 simply because what a signing he's proven. Every game he seems to make a huge save. Every single game, even QPR away when he messed up for the goal with a headed clearance. He later popped up in the second half with a one-on-one save, diving to his right, and that's what he's so consistent. And I love the fact he sweeps in front of the box as well. Been really impressive.
Yeah, I also went for an 8, but as you say, all of you guys, it's his positioning, his ability to have a one-on-one keeper. And just the difference between the next keeper we'll go on to and him, there's just when Will Norris was on the ball or had a player going on through, I never felt comfortable watching him. I always felt on edge. But when Nico's got the ball at his feet or he's got a player coming one-on-one, I feel a lot more relaxed and feel more trustworthy in the fact he will do what his job is. So on that, we will go to Will Norris. So Russ?
I gave him a 2.
Yeah, I went for 2. Unfortunately, don't get me wrong, if it was based on last season, it'd probably be up to 7 or 8. But this season, he just couldn't handle it, could he? I think if he looked out of his depth, which is a shame after what he did for us last season. But I suppose it's football, isn't it?
Yeah, I've given him a 6 because he had some man of the match performances as well. It was a really strange start to the season. He was man of the match against Middlesbrough. He was man of the match against Luton. I think he was man of the match against Sheffield United as well. But also he had some dreadful matches. It was a strange one. But the point about when Smith came into the team, Pompey changed their style. So he wasn't expected to use the ball with his feet. Smith's distribution isn't that great. A lot of the time he kicks it left over the head of Ogilvy, but it doesn't need to be great. Whereas Norris had to be good with his distribution because Pompey played out from the back through the goalkeeper. So really Smith's got an easy job in terms of distribution because he doesn't have to do what Norris was expected to do last year. And it suits Smith more. But whereas Norris was very erratic start of the season, so up and down, Smith's got that consistency.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I probably forgot about the Luton game, to be honest.
Yeah, so, I mean,
I think it's the Stoke game, isn't it?
Yeah, it was terrible. The Stoke game, terrible.
It's just that memory of him passing it straight to the Stoke player between the two centre halves. It's like, what are you doing?
But even Leeds, a couple of them, he just stood there and it was like dive. And even you don't get it.
There was that Burnley goal, wasn't it, where he just watched it trickle in at the far post. He didn't attempt, but I went for a 2 as well. I just think the expectation was for him to be able to step up, and overall he just pretty much crumbled. And I think the fact that he did have a couple of good games actually saved him from probably getting a 1.
I can't wait to hear your Yangi ratings.
Minus.
Just you wait. Next up, Jordan Archer.
I found that hard because all I can remember was the Cardiff game.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it?
And he done all right. Did he not start against Wickham?
It started against Sheffield Wednesday, I think it was.
And Sheffield Wednesday, yeah. So I went for just a slightly bit higher. I gave him a 4 just because he did all right, but nothing special.
Sorry, are we talking about Jordan Archer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, so I just got a complete mental blank then. I just zoned out.
And speaking of kicking, sorry, he cannot kick at all. He might be one of the worst kickers I've ever seen.
I thought he did a good job when he came on for Nico Schmid against Cardiff, and especially when we weren't playing particularly well, it's always tough, especially for a keeper to come in and do a decent job. I thought, Sheffield Wednesday, I thought it was all right. I'm going to go with a 5 just because can't see enough of him. The kicking side of things, the same. It's going to be the same with the Ben Killip thing. Kicking, if especially a keeper, I think if they haven't played enough games, your kicking can be off. You got to give them a lot longer than 2 more games to improve on their kicking, I think.
Yeah, I'll give him a 6 because he's only played 3 times. Stopped the battering really at Cardiff, and he didn't do a lot wrong really. I think 6 is fair. It wasn't bad, was he? He just did all right. So 3 games, I've given him a 6.
Yeah, I went kind of slap bang in the middle for a 5, much along the same as Neil's. Really, he was kind of your backup keeper. You just want him to be a steady Eddie. You don't expect him to be as good as Nico because otherwise he'd be a number 1 somewhere. So he got a 5. Next is Ben Killip.
I went same 4. Thought he did all right in his 2 games. Kicking was woeful. Had a couple of dodgy moments Saturday, if I remember rightly. But he also pulled off a hell of a good save as well. So yeah, I just went for a 4. 5 is what your average. I might bump it to 5. Just he was average.
Yeah, I've gone with a 5 as well. I think he did what he needed to do. And again, I know with the kicking, I didn't really watch much of the Sheffield Wednesday game, so I couldn't really judge on his kicking on that. But yeah, his kicking again wasn't great on Saturday. But again, as I said about Jordan Archer, you got to give him a bit more of a chance to settle in before. And if he hasn't played much football and then he's sort of playing in that game at home, I don't think anyone played particularly well. So it was kind of hard to judge him on that. So yeah, I've gone with a 5.
Yeah, so I'll give him the same as Archer, 6. He only played twice. Did all right. Didn't do badly. Did okay. That's it, really, isn't it?
Do you think, I gave him a 5 as well. Do you think, Neil, he's done enough? Because I know some people release him, he's not good enough. But For a third choice keeper, I don't really know what people are expecting.
Yeah, he did actually. He did better at Sheffield Wednesday. He was more confident and composed at Sheffield Wednesday. But as you say, second or third choice keeper, does it matter?
No, you just wanted to fill a job for a game or two, don't you?
I mean,
That's it.
you think so? Jordan Archer's still been on the bench for all but the last 2 games, and he's played 3 games all season. Probably about keepers in the last few years who've been on the bench all season and never played. So it doesn't really matter, does it? Spend money elsewhere,
You're not. Yeah, exactly. He's going to be fairly low wages, I'd imagine. He knows the club. He would know he's third choice. Rather than make your resources of Rich Hughes and the scouts and everything having to go and find someone else, you've got someone literally here. I think you might as well renew it for a year, and it then enables you to loan out Toby Stewart to the EFL, which he desperately needs. So, right, that's the keepers. We'll go on to the defenders. We'll start at right back and go for Jordan Williams.
He's again, it's hard when they've been in and out of the team, but when he's played right back, I always thought he's been solid. I gave him a 7.
Yeah, I mean, I was debating whether it's like 6 or 7. The only reason I'm going for I'm worried now. I'm thinking about it now. Do you know what? I am going to go for a 7, because the reason I was going to drop it to 6 was because of his injuries. But I suppose I want to try and concentrate on his actual performances and some of the games he played in. I think it was Cardiff or somewhere at home, where I thought it was his first game back after being out for a while, and he was quality.
Stoke was the one where he was like Cafu, right?
Yeah, Cafu, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was, and I think it was his first game back in a while, and I was worried about him because I thought, first game back, you've got to sort of work your way into it, and we're pretty much halfway through the season, so everyone's sort of at that level, and I thought he was absolute quality, and again, before he got injured again, I thought he was quality again. I just hope he's not one of those players that's just going to keep injury after injury, because no matter how good he is, if he's not available, you just have to move on, don't you?
Yeah, Williams is an interesting one because last year, I looked it up, last year for Barnsley, he started 45 games in the league and played in all 46 in the league. So he hasn't got an injury history. I just think he's been really unfortunate this season. The poor guy is that unlucky that he was one of the players rested at West Brom and put on the bench, wasn't he, to protect him?
Oh, yeah.
And he comes on and still gets an injury.
Yeah.
I think it's Pompey's best right back. And I'm going to give him 7.5, which is actually the same rating I give Swanson, but Williams hasn't played that much, unfortunately, because of his injuries. So it's a shame, really.
Yeah, I think I gave Williams a 6. I think some of it is to do with his availability. Obviously, he's not injury prone. It's just the fact that none of our right backs have really
cursed. We're cursed.
Yeah, none of them have been available enough or set the world alight. They've all kind of been. I gave him, Swanson and Devlin. I gave them all 6s because they've done really good bits, but they're kind of like a steady Eddie. All of them. They've all got good perks, but the availability is what's probably knocked them down a little bit for me. Boys, Swanson and Devlin, do them 2 in 1.
So I gave Swanson a 6 just because I felt he got caught out a lot towards the end of the season.
Derby, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and there was some other games where he just kept getting caught out all the time, like back post, like players across it in. I'm trying to think of the one that was right in front of me at the Fratton end, and he just stood there and allowed the player just to come in and head the ball. I can't remember who it was.
Oh,
was that Derby?
Cardiff.
No, this was a while ago.
But he had a nightmare at Stoke as well. Wow.
Yeah. I think was it at home to Cardiff? I think that Dowser. I think.
Yeah. Yes, it was. And he just stood there and allowed him to. Didn't even challenge him or nothing. And it happened a few times. But then he would have games like he did against Leeds, and I know it's not this season, but Tottenham, where he just looks like, what a player. So I just went for a 6. He weren't average. He was definitely above that. And Devlin, I gave a 7 because he was played here, there, and everywhere, and he never let us down. Gave everything. So I don't remember a game where I thought, Devlin had a bad game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my score's exactly the same, 6 and 7, like 6 for Swanson, 7 for Devlin, pretty much bang on the same like ideas and the like reasons why I gave them those scores.
I mean, this has been by far, I think, Swanson's best season for Pompey. I think he's had a really good year. He's got better, he's played more games, but he is erratic, isn't he? He's had these top games and these awful games as well. So I mean, I've given him 7.5, and Devlin, I think, has been a revelation this year. Absolutely superb. His energy, his work rate, he's phenomenal in the air as well, believe it or not. And the different positions, fans love him. I just love his energy and everything about him. So I'm giving him an 8. He's been superb for me this year.
I just
Outstanding.
find it mental. I find it mental how it was his first season at League One level last season, and then this season is his first season at Championship level, and he's not really looked at a place one bit.
He's 21 as well.
It's mental.
I can't wait to see him next season against the Scummers. He's going to 2-foot someone, isn't he?
Can he do that from being in goal?
Yeah. Devlin. I got Devlin a 7 as well. I don't need to explain why. You guys have covered that. Right, centre halves. Hayden Matthews.
In the games he played in, you'd have to give him an 8. Maybe knock him down one. Well, it's not his fault. He gets injured, is it? He got injured trying to probably put the tackle of the season in. I'm sticking with an 8. He was outstanding. I think he's got a real future. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him next season.
Yeah,
he gives me Matt Clark vibes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 8 as well, because it's not just the fact of how well he played, but it's how like he's come from over the other side of the country and he kind of slotted in like.
You mean the world?
Huh? What did I say?
Do you mean the world?
Yeah.
He comes from Newcastle. He's not really Australian.
I'm thinking about that forfeit still. But yeah, he came in, he slotted in really well. Obviously, I know there was an issue with the Millwall goal, but that wasn't down to him. And you kind of felt sorry for him. They got caught in that situation. Again, it wasn't his fault. Like, it's nothing like he could have done about it. But he didn't let that sort of like blow his confidence or anything like that. And I thought when he played, he looked like he'd been playing centre back in the Championship for a good few years. So yeah, I'll go for 8 as well.
Oh, you give more than me in this one. I've gone 7.5. I think 6 games, very encouraging. Looks comfortable on the ball. Really like him. I love the fact that he got injured when a player landed on him, so it wasn't down to the training ground or anything like that. He actually got injured because somebody fell on him, and he carried on, and even went up front, didn't he? He went up front and out of the way, and he couldn't move, and he still was trying to get involved. And at the final whistle, he had to be carried off by 2 members of the medical team. Fair play to him. He's got some guts, that lad, clearly. So I think it's only 6 games, but I think he's very, very promising. Looking forward to seeing him play more.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of centre half is where we've got the depth out, really, because you look, technically we've got 3 right-sided centre halves going into next season in Matthews, Paul and Shaughnessy. It's honestly, I think it's hard to know who's going to start. But when Matthews was on the floor, when he obviously, not knowing that he'd broken his ankle, he was obviously in quite a bit of pain. Messino was obviously, he was on the floor, he was playing them on side. And Messino was shouting him to get their fuck up quite loudly, which was quite funny. But he got an 8 from me as well. Next one, Regan Poole.
I'm gonna go 7.5, just because when he first come back, again, not his fault, but when he first come back, it did take him a little while to get into it. I'm trying to do it like across the whole season. There's a lot of things could be recency biased. You know, if you're talking since he come back after his next injury, I'll probably give him a 9. Do you know what I mean? So
don't forget he was coming back from a ACL.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not his fault, but I can only go on how he played. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think 7.5 is fair for a player who's missed games, started a bit slowly. But he finished so strong. And again, another player I can't wait to see next season back to his fully best.
Yeah, I'm not going to be harsh like Russ. I'm going to go.
I told you I was going to be harsh.
I'm going to go with 8. I just feel we're a better team with him in it. And I think, but like when he came back from his injury, I thought his first injury, he was pretty decent, and then when he sort of, I think it was the Preston game where he sort of got caught out, wasn't it? But I thought since he's been back again, I thought he's been flawless, and I'm so glad he got that goal at the end of the season against Norwich, because he definitely deserved it.
Yeah, I've gone for 8 as well. When he came back against Burnley, it was a revelation, wasn't it, that Burnley game? But he himself said that it's a common practice when you come back from a long-term injury. You start off like a train because you've got the adrenaline, and then he sort of dips slightly, and it's to be expected. Been out for 11 months, and then he had hamstring and calf issues, and was out for another 2.5 months, and then he came back really, really strongly, didn't he? He finished strongly, and one of my moments of the season was his celebration after scoring at Norwich. You could see how much it meant to him, and he's one of the nicest lads in that Pompey dressing room as well. And he's such a good player. And let's not forget, he never played Championship level before, like Ogilvy, and he's just got better and better as the season's gone on, and as he's come through that injury, and he's definitely a Championship player for Pompey. And I'm delighted for him this year because he's had a tough time.
Yeah, I actually went for a 7, but I actually feel like that's really harsh now.
But I thought I got a bit of like a dead silence when I said 7.5.
Yeah, no, it's only because I feel like there's other players that did better. And I didn't give any higher than a 9. You can probably guess who that's gone. And then I think he was like a bit further down than that. So it's not necessarily against him. It's more kind of to be in keeping with the rest of the ratings.
That's why I've gone halves.
Yeah,
about the same issue,
and
I've gone halves in there with some of them, so you can just distinguish them and separate them. Otherwise, you can't have so many on the same mark, can you?
Yeah. Well, that's why I thought I had him down as a 7. I thought, now I'm going to bump him up to 7.5.
Yeah,
because he does deserve it a little bit higher than some of the others I got as 7.
Right, so I reckon we'll go through the next couple. Just give your things just to speed it up a bit. We'll do the next 2. Just give the ratings and move on. Shaughnessy and Towler.
Shaughnessy, again, hard one. So I've only given him a this low due to lack of, not being available. So I gave him a 6. But he never did anything wrong in any of the games. It's a hard one, isn't it?
And Towler?
Oh, sorry, and Towler. I gave a 5. I thought he was just average.
Shaughnessy, same reasons for Shaughnessy. I will go with 6. And do you know what? I'm going to give Towler a 6 because, I don't think he did anything wrong. He got his goal against Swansea, and I think he's just kind of being a bit unlucky. I don't think he's done much wrong at all.
Yeah, I'm going to Shaughnessy 7.5. He played in some big games end of the season, scored the goal as well, didn't he? That goal, and against QPR, and it looked a class act in the Championship despite he only played 9 games. Towler, I gave 7. I think he didn't do anything wrong. Towler, he did it right, didn't he? I think, unfortunately for Towler, he needs matches, and also he's become a player who's got better the longer he's been out of the team for me. And there's been a lot of clamour to put him in the team, hasn't there, at various points of the season when, I don't think he's quite proven himself at Championship level. But I think he's stuck by it and he's not let anyone down, so I'm giving him a 7.
Yeah, I went for a 6 for Shaughnessy and a 5 for Riley Towler. Next one's going to be interesting. Russ's best bud, Tom McIntyre.
I just gave him a 1. I can't be arsed with him. He generally is that awful.
Daz?
I'm gonna give him a 2.
Neil?
That's it.
I'm picking myself up off the floor over these ratings for him.
Was it 10?
I can't find him on the list. Honestly, can't. Oh, he is. I'll give him a 6. He came back from a long-term injury, didn't he? And yeah, his form dipped as well, a bit like Paul, really. But unfortunately, he was horrific at Derby, wasn't he? I know there's been issues as well with personal issues with his dad was ill, wasn't he? We talked about the start of the season and things. Yeah, it's difficult to see a way back for him at Pompey now as well, isn't it, really? Because he's now bottom of the list, isn't he?
Yeah, I went for a 1 as well. I just thought he's honestly one of our worst players we've had this season. Every game, for a centre half, I don't know how you can not know when to jump and head the ball. One of my biggest gripes with him, and it was Jeff Harris said it all the time as well, was when he goes to jump for the ball to head it, every single time, pretty much, he misjudged when to jump. And I think, as a centre-half, that's your bread and butter. That's what you should know when to do. And the amount of times he'd mistime it and he'd kind of either it would bounce over his head or he'd kind of flick it and it would cause problems behind. I just think he's clearly not a championship player, so he gets a 1. The last centre-half is Big Daddy himself, Rob Atkinson.
I've given him a 9 just because I want him to see that and come back. I loved it. He's my type of centre half as well. That sort of bit like Raggett. I've always said he's like a better version of Raggett. You know what I mean? A championship standard Raggett, because I did always worry could Raggett make it in the championship. But no, I love him. I hope he comes back. I hope we do everything we can to get back. Bristol City get promoted. I'll be supporting them.
They've just gone down. They've just gone down to 10 men. Bristol City.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to go with a 9 as well. There's a particular amount of players that are going to be on 9s. Again, yeah, when he came in, he was unbelievable. I still think he should be a rugby player because he looks like one. He sounds like one. Like when I heard his first interview, I was like, he's got to be a rugby player, surely. But he's as hard as one as well, I think. But yeah, for me, he's 9.
I'll give him a 9 as well. I think he's been absolutely magnificent, and there's loads of things I like about him as well. He's a proper pro because when he gave his interview after the Derby game, he was shivering because he had a stomach virus. He was ill. He had the flu. He just played 90 odd minutes in his comeback game. He was so shattered they put him up front, and of course he got the last minute equaliser. It was just an iconic match. And if Pompey had lost that game, Derby would have been above them, and then everyone would have been very worried. It was such a huge result to get that last minute equaliser. And he's a proper pro, isn't he? He just wins everything in the air, everything on the floor, very comfortable on the ball. He's just a class act for me, absolutely outstanding. And he's a real top guy as well. And I love the fact that he came Pompey on loan and he brought his family down and they rented somewhere in Hillsey near the training ground because he wanted to do it properly.
Yeah, this is kind of what we discussed because that episode after that Derby game, we called it the Rob Atkinson show because he got 2 goals, an own goal and a yellow card. He literally did everything but get sent off. The fact that you don't normally hear of players moving their families down for a loan anyway, but let alone a kind of a last minute or in a January, a 6-month loan. It's very rare. You know, it kind of felt like there was always I'll move down to see what it's like with a view of potentially making it a permanent. But whether we do that or not, as Russ said, I really hope we do because we look so much better with him. And I think him and Paul have built up a really good relationship. And even if Hayden Matthews was to play, he's the right kind of guy to put with a younger, a less experienced player in Hayden Matthews. He's the right kind of guy that Matthews can learn a hell of a lot of playing next to him. So I actually gave him an 8, which is a little bit harsher than you guys.
That's harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, but I only gave 1 9, right? No one can ever get. I don't think a 10 is ever possible. So
I think he must have got at least an 8 or a 9 in every match he played in.
Oh yeah, at least this is where if Pompey want to look at where to invest to keep in the Championship, he's the kind of player you want to do it, because he's not a relegation level player. He is a mid-table or higher Championship defender, and if you can get someone like that to join your club, you're showing your intent as a club, and you're building the right foundations, and you can help build that defence around him. So,
also, I got, because me and my boy stayed after the game and waited for the players to come out, and he was all the other loans did quick times, and you could tell they just wanted to get out of there as quick as they could, really. But he was there with his family. He stayed for ages. He just had this different aura of he looks like someone that if he gets the opportunity, I think he would come here.
Wow, let's hope so. Right, on to left backs. Jacob Farrell.
For his one game performance, an 8. He's hard to rate, isn't he? Because it's just literally one game. So I'll take a couple off for availability and give him a 6.
Yeah, I'm very wary about judging players off of one game, let alone 2 or anything like that. So, I didn't actually see Sheffield United game, but from what I heard, he played really well. I think he could have scored a winner as well from header. I'm going to give him a 5. Just because of one game. I can't give him any more than that.
I'll give him a 6, as I say, one game. It's an interesting one because he was absolutely destroyed by Ratsuki. And then they subbed him off, and then without him there, Farrell's game suddenly improved, and he got better and better, attacked more. As you said, he had a headed chance. But while Ratsuki was on the pitch, he gave him a real runaround, but it was his debut, so...
Well, for the first 20 minutes, he did tear him apart, but then I felt he got used to him, and that's why they subbed him off, because he couldn't get past him anymore.
Well, yeah, no, even at the start of the second half, he struggled to keep up with him. I couldn't believe they brought him off, but perhaps he was injured or they wanted to change the system, I don't know. But then it was free then, so after that point, it was bombing down that left wing, putting crosses in, getting involved. So it was like a game of two halves for him, really.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So I gave him a 5. Just I reckon for the game he'd got a 6 or a 7, but just the fact that he's only managed to play one game, in which the other reason we brought in another left back, which is Cohen Bramall.
I gave him a 6. He didn't do a lot wrong, didn't do a lot right at the same time. I thought he had a good couple of sub. I always felt he looked better as a sub. Games where we needed to bring him on to be that defensive left winger. I remember even against Leeds he come on and put some fantastic crosses in. But Coventry away, he should have squared at the Bishop, really. I think he would do it differently again if he had the chance. But I thought he did all right. I gave him a 6.
I really liked Cohen Bramall, to be honest, and I'd be relatively happy if he signed on again. I think he gives us a lot of flexibility. Obviously, playing left back, he can play left wing back and left wing. I was torn between a 6 and a 7. I'm gonna give him a 6, but it's a very good 6. It's teetering on the edge of a 7, so you could call it 6.5 plus. But I liked him, and I thought. Apart, because I'm just trying to take the Coventry game out of it, even though it was a massive moment, which obviously feels a bit less massive now that we're safe. But I think apart from that, I thought he's been pretty good. So yeah, it's a really close 7.
I've given him a 7. I think he did well on occasions. Bombing on from that left back position as well, his versatility I liked. What I was concerned about is that when he was attacking down the left as a fullback, whether he got in the way of Murphy, because Murphy likes to go on the outside, and so does he. And I'm not sure they work that well together.
No, was it Plymouth? Plymouth at home. They just felt like they were getting each other's way.
Yeah,
all the time.
and he worked so well with Ogilvy. So, but I just liked his versatility, and I think if you look at it, when he arrived, people going, "Oh, he's from Rotherham, he's rubbish." I think he surprised us all. I think he proved to be a decent signing, and he had some good performances, and I'd say he's just versatile. So yeah, I think he did okay.
Yeah, I went for a 6 for as well. He came in for there's a certain job he needed to do, and I think he pretty much fulfilled that. Next was our Pompey Passer Awards winner of Most Improved Player, which was Connor Ogilvie.
Right, so you're going to have to hear me out with this. As this is based on a whole season, and everyone can admit the first 15, maybe to 20 games, Ogilvie was not up to speed. If it was, again, and I think a lot of it could be recency bias, because I see you got a couple awards for player of the season, and that baffled me, because I'm like, do you not remember the beginning of the season? So I've given him a 7, but that would have been a lot higher if he had not got off to the start he would have. I'm just making that very clear.
I'm going to give him an 8, mainly because obviously I know Russ, like how you felt about him at the start of the season. I don't think it took him that long to get going. I think you may be talking about, I felt I could see improvements for around about between 8 and 10 games. So I had the game in my head earlier, and I was going to say it, but I totally forgot it now. Where I saw he looked like he was getting better and starting to feel a bit more at home. And I think as the season went on, again, I think I said this last week that he represents Pompey season, where we started off mainly because we had a really tough start, tough to get going, and then sort of gradually built into it, and then obviously finished pretty strong. So yeah, I'm gonna give him an 8.
I'll give it a 9. I just love the journey. I love that he started 10 minutes into his debut in the Championship. He'd given a penalty away because he forgot Dan James was behind him. And he had a real tough start, especially against the calibre of opposition. But he knuckled down, he improved and got better and better. And I know Joshua Murphy was Player of the Year, but Ogilvie finished the season stronger, if anything. He just ploughed on to the final whistle of the last day of the season. He was fantastic, so consistent, so reliable. Completely a Championship player, isn't he, really? A lot of people were writing him off, prove them wrong. He's a quiet lad, no frills about him. He just gets on with the job. He must be in the manager's dream. It really is. And he'll be first choice left back next season as well.
Yeah, I gave him a 7. I just think, unfortunately, the first kind of 10 to 15 games does bring him down a bit. But he won our Most Improved Player of the season, because going from just looking completely lost and completely out of his depth against Dan. I know it's Dan James, and I get it, the way it leads, first game of the season, but even in the first couple of games after that, he didn't look comfortable. And then now he looks like he would be a mid-table Championship left-back, and there's plenty that he's improved on. He chips in with, I think he's got 3 or 4 goals for us this season as well. He's a threat in the box. And as you said earlier, he complements Murphy really well, especially the last probably 10 to 15 games. He kind of went inverted. As soon as Murphy gets that ball on that touchline, he's just come inside and become an extra body in the box to join Bishop. And the first time we saw that was that goal against Sheffield United, where he became a massively inverted fullback. Right, that's the defenders. I'm wary of keeping you, Neil, so we'll probably speed up a little bit.
Yeah, are we doing this till tomorrow morning?
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's just whiz through these then. Andre Dazelle.
He gets an 8 for me.
Daz?
Yeah, 8.
8 from me. What recovery. Better and better season's gone on, hasn't he? Really has.
Yeah, he won our unsung hero of the player. He's kind of that steady Eddie that you kind of need in midfield. I gave him a 7. Isaac Hayden.
6.
7 for me.
Yeah, 7.5. I think it was a very slow start, all right, average start, wasn't he? But he got better and better with game. He'd not played any until last year, and he got better, and he finished the season quite strongly as well. I love his physicality, his calmness, and he did well in the end.
Yeah, he got a 6 from me as well. As he said, slow start, but the last kind of probably 5 games is probably where we really started to see the best of him and his quality come through as he got fitter. Next is club captain Marlon Pack.
I'm going to give him a 7 just because I thought, I know he had some bad games in centre back, but he's not a centre back. And he always gave everything. I thought when he's played midfield, he always played well. Didn't really bother me. Quite happy. I hope he stays around. I know you're not convinced he is, but yeah, I'll give him I'm giving him a 7.
Yeah, mine will be a 7, very close to an 8 actually for me, because I know away from home at centre back he didn't have his best of games, but I don't think he was alone. But at home, I thought he was really good centre back. I can remember watching him against, I think it was the first game against Preston. He looked so natural there. So yeah, that was nice. And I thought even in its centre mid, I thought he did all right. So yeah, mine's going to be like a 7, very close to an 8 for.
I'll give him 7.5. He's never played centre back before. He dropped in, didn't moan, just got on with it. Far better at home. Probably due to Pompey having more possession because he uses the ball so well. There's not a better crossfield passer than Marlon Pack in the team. And that's what Pompey like about him. He can keep possession. He's better at the ball than Riley Towler is in the Championship, for example. And he's an outstanding leader. Proper captain. Pompey's best captain since Michael Doyle. Outstanding.
Yeah, I went for a 7 as well. I think he got unfairly criticised. As you say, he's playing out of position. Some key moments, despite a few wary moments. I think as a leader, you see him kind of playing out of position and doing what he did. I think as another player, even if you're playing in your correct position, I think he'd kind of spur you on to keep pushing. Freddie Potts,
An 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't think he's ready for the Prem, but he's definitely got the potential for sure.
Yeah, 8 for me. Yeah, same as has Russ even. Sorry.
Yeah, 8.5 for me. I think he's had a really good season, first time at this level. I thought his performance at Norwich was phenomenal, and up and down a bit, but he's such a good player. He's got a massive future, hasn't he? He really has.
Yeah, I went for an 8 as well. I think it kind of first few games it took him a bit of time to grow in, but the way he kind of changed position, he was kind of the advancing of the two out of him and Dazelle to start off with. Obviously, where he scored that goal at QPR. Back end of the season, he swapped and he was the deeper player in midfield, and Dazelle and even Hayden were the ones pushing on, and he was making that midfield tick. So he got an 8 for me. Right, Abdullah Kamara.
Oof.
I gave him a 3. I think I didn't write it down. I don't think. No, I haven't. I forgot about it. Give him a 3.
So that's something, isn't it? It's got existed.
I genuinely forgot to write him down. I don't know why.
I'm going to give him a 4 because I thought when the times he came on right at the start of the season, I think he looked quite comfortable. But I think you did have that Wickham game where he looked a bit out of it. But then again, I think pretty much every player did. But I'm going to be nice and give him a 4.
I'll give him a 4.5. It's interesting that since the Wickham game, he's never made a Pompey squad, which I think says it all.
Do you think there is a future for him here, Neil? Do you reckon he needs a season out on loan?
Messina said the other day that he needs the style change didn't necessarily suit Kamara. He thinks it will suit him more with Bobby becoming more attacking as a team next year. But it's just as ever, you can judge how a manager thinks about players from the bench. So Yengi wasn't even included in the last 2 squads with loanees a player ahead of him. So you think that's not good, is it? Moxon was always on the bench and rarely used. So that's what the manager thinks about him. Sorensen, I think, played once in the last 12 games he was here. That's what the manager thinks about him. Kamara can't even get in the squad beyond the start of January. That's what the manager thinks of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, good points.
Yeah, Kamara got a 3 for me. Owen Moxon?
A 4. He did all right. Had a terrible game against Middlesbrough, I think. If I remember right, he gave that sloppy penalty away. he ain't. Is he gone? I can't remember. Is he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
was
went to
sold
the
in
top
January.
four.
Yeah. So a 4.
I'm going to give him a 5. He didn't pull up many trees, did he? And obviously, like I said, like the Middlesbrough incident and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to give him a 5.
I'm going to give him a 5. He's not good enough for the Championship. He wasn't even a regular, really, for Pompey in the League One. So, yeah, I think it was a level too high for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually gave him a 3, to be honest. Might be a bit harsh, but again, there's a silly penalty given away in the last minute. It could have made life a bit easier. Yeah. Next up, forgotten man, Ben Stevenson.
Oh, dear.
If I remember right, he did all right against Millwall in the one game he played. I just gave him a 4. I pretty much given all them sort of players a 4 because he didn't do anything wrong, didn't do anything right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a. What did I give Moxon? Did I give Moxon a 5? I'll give Stevenson a 5 as well.
Yeah, I want to give him a 5 as well. He couldn't get in Pompey's team last year, and he was clearly wasn't good enough for the Championship this year. And now he's been relegated to League Two.
Yeah, I gave him a 2. Just nowhere near good enough. As Neil said, he wasn't good enough last season. He's actually been released by Cambridge today as well. So
Have they released him?
Yeah, if he's been released from a League One team that's just been relegated, then that clearly tells you exactly how good or bad he is. Another forgotten man, Tom Lowry.
4 again. Not much.
I'm going to give him 5 just for the song.
I like that. I'm going to do 5 as well. Yeah.
I gave him a 2 because I feel him and Stevenson are pretty much in the same boat. Lowry obviously more down to injury, but didn't really get in last season. Not good enough for the Championship. But it's nice to see him doing a lot better back at Crewe as well. Adil O'Sheesh.
I gave him a 5. He was average, wasn't he? As much as he did good, he did nothing at the same time. I just went bang in the middle with him because that's what he was. He was just bang average.
Yeah. I went for a 6. Majority of the time he was bang average, but he did have those little instances where he showed some class. And also the Norwich game, I thought he was unplayable there. So that gave him just enough just to bump up to a 6.
6.5. Plenty of energy, plenty of work rate, but absolutely no creativity. Scored 1 goal. Poor man's Callum Lang, unfortunately, but he was outstanding at Norwich.
I gave him a 5. He's kind of that flair player without the flair. He's all fart, no poo, really. He kind of looks like the socks halfway down your ankles. He's got the attitude, but he hasn't got enough end product. He kind of flattered to deceive a bit too much.
Is he the Championship Owen Dale?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, no, he looks like a footballer. No, you can see. Sometimes you can see there's a player that it's just. I don't know if it's our system doesn't suit a flair sort of player, really, does it? It's all about hard work and work rate.
I think also he is a different kind of player to Callum Lang. So where you get such high running intensity from Lang, people probably expected that from O'Sheesh, but that's not his game.
Oh no! His levels of work rate is like off the scale. Messina said it several times. He says you wouldn't believe his level of work rate. He's actually surprised him how hard he works.
Yeah,
it's just the end product, really, wasn't it? That's the end.
That was Owen Dale end product, wasn't it?
Yeah. Right, we're moving on to the forwards now. Gavin White.
Oh my god!
What? Did he even play?
Yeah.
He played in the Millwall game, didn't he?
He played in the first game of the season, did he? The first couple of squads he was involved in.
Wow.
Because he had the number 11 shirt, and then he left, and then Marco Mani got it like the next day.
Okay. I certainly don't know. I'll give him a 3.
Yeah, I'll give him a 3 as well.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 3 as well. His only impact in his whole time at Pompey was setting up Yengi at Peterborough.
And he'll never be forgotten for that.
No. and the pass against Bolton.
Oh yes,
as well.
yes, the cross from the right.
So basically, he could only assist the Engie.
Yeah.
I gave him a 1.
Is that you give him 1 just for writing his name? He gets 1 mark for writing his name.
Yeah, literally, might as well have not bothered. Obviously, we've learnt that there were, he was struggling being away from his family, and I totally get that, and I understand that, and I'm glad he scored his first goal for Derry a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and he finally saw that pace that Messino was always talking about, and he never saw it. And it was like, he is fast.
Do you know what? Gavin White was replaced by Josh Murphy. There's levels for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's exactly why Gavin White gets a 1. Paddy Lane.
Oh,
5. I've not been a lover of him this season. I love him for last season. I'm not sure he's a championship player.
Yeah, I think I thought before he got injured, I thought he was starting to look good. I
thought that. Yeah.
Got his goal against Swansea. I thought one of his best games was at Norwich at home. I think he played in the 10. I thought he played really well. I thought he could maybe get there. It'd be interesting to see what happens this summer. I think he is going to maybe have to adapt his game a little bit, maybe put on a bit more muscle and stuff like that, because you don't want to be like up against totally kind of different players and defenders of bigger and stronger and stuff like that. So I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6. He never showed it. He never showed it, did he, in the championship? I'm concerned about his pace at that level, about his skill at that level. But he's got the heart, he's got the work rate, and he can get better. He's still young. You look at Ogilvy's improvements, it could happen. It's just a shame he got injured when he did, really, because he was just starting to get a little better.
Yeah, I agree. I gave him a 4 just because of the start of the season. I think with the injuries, unfortunate. I don't know whether trouble is the Championship was his natural progression. He got 20 goals and assists in League One last year. Your natural progression from that in a league-winning side is to do it in the Championship, and so far it didn't quite work. But I don't know whether a loan might do him good just to get him a season under his belt, because he's only 22, 23, something like that. So if he's not going to get the game time here, you loan him out for a season and then come back and see where he's at and see if he can do it again. Next up, Harvey Blair.
I'm going to give him a 5.5. Just because I felt the last few appearances, I felt gutted for him Saturday. He generally looked good. And then he did the right thing, cut across the player, and due to that, ended up having to be subbed off.
Not a good tackle, is it? It's a horrible tackle.
No. Yeah. And I do think there's a player there, and I do like the look of him. He just needs to bulk up over the summer, get a bit stronger. He gets pushed off too easy. But I've noticed he's a quick learner. When we played QPR away, was it? No, not QPR away. Who was it? Who was it? He got Mill away. That's it. When he got, he put the ball in. Eventually, he pinged back to Zazelle and he scored. He tried to do that 2 minutes before, and the defender just shrugged him off. And he learned not to get so tight and close to him, and then beat him, absolutely done him for pace. So. And that, just little signs like that give me hope with Blair. I think I'll give him 5.5 for what we've seen, but I do think I'm glad that I've seen that we're going to keep him around. I don't really want him going out on loan. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 6, pretty much similar to what you said, Russ. I'm hoping that he's going to really knuckle down this summer, and really come a good full pre-season and stuff like that. And hopefully he can at least be in and around the starting 11, if not definitely making the squad 9 times out of 10. I said to my mate when that tackle went in from the whole player, it's one of these things. If we were playing a team with nothing to play for, that defender probably doesn't make that challenge, but I don't blame the whole City player for making that challenge. From where I stood, it didn't look great. But I think if we'd have been up against, I don't know, someone nowhere to play for, like Norwich or stuff like that, the defender probably doesn't make that challenge, and he's been unlucky in that instance.
We've given him a 5.5 purely because of the way he ended the season. He obviously had the tap in it at Sheffield Wednesday, and I felt a bit sorry for him in the end. But he's had an up and down season. But Messina brought him back in the end, so clearly liked something about him.
Yeah, I gave him a 4. He gets one more than Kamara just because of the end of the season. I think it's kind of harsh, but they were both signed for the future. They're not for the now. There definitely is a player there. I feel like you had when we brought Paddy Lane in that first window that Messina was. I think was he brought in before Messina? He might have been. Paddy Lane scored on like the last day of the season was his first Pompey goal because it seemed like he wasn't going to be able to cut it, but it was the last game of the season. It felt like Harvey Blair's was kind of the same there. It was obviously the second to last game, and hopefully he can kick on and be more important. I think pre-season's going to be important for him. Next up, one of the worst loans I've seen, just because it's a complete waste. Cade Gordon.
Well, it just makes me laugh. We brought him in because we didn't trust Blair, and then ended up not having him in and going back to trusted Blair. That's how bad he was. I gave him a 2.
I'm going to be nice, give him a 3.
It's funny because Liverpool brought him back from Norwich because he wasn't playing enough, and he's played even fewer games at Pompey. I'll give him a 4.
I gave him a 1. Absolute waste of time. That's all I've got to say. Matt Ritchie.
I gave him a 7.5. Obviously, the lack of football at the beginning of the season, you could tell, but his presence on the pitch, even Saturday, he was, it was almost like he was on a one-man mission to try and relegate Hull at one point.
It's just him screaming the word up all the time. It's brilliant.
He's loud, isn't he?
Yeah. And he's exactly what we needed this season. He may not have had the best performances. He had his games, had his moments. The Middlesbrough game, Norwich, he had a good game, things like that. But it wasn't about his ability. It was about what he could offer experience-wise.
Well, he even said that himself, didn't he? I think it was to Andy Moon or was it to you, Neil? He said about the fact that Murphy was there as the threat. He's there to keep the structure in the team.
Yeah, no, it wasn't to me. That's interesting. Yeah. It is really, isn't it? Because they're very, very different wingers. But Ritchie basically leads the press.
Yeah. But you need someone like that to be able to do it.
Yeah, he's got the energy to lead the press. He was saying the other day that he's used to that system with Eddie Howe leading the press, and he thinks it works well. And his energy does that for Pompey.
Yeah, I've gone with an 8. Like I was quite not worried, but I just wasn't sure how much he'd be able to keep up that level of like with the high press and stuff like that, and leading the press like all the way through the season considering like his age. But he obviously looks after himself and stuff like that. And I can remember sitting in the south stand because I'm usually in the Fratton end, like in the south stand when you're a bit closer to the pitch, and seeing the look on Richie's face when he's chasing people down. It's brilliant. I love it, and it just shows how like dedicated and his passion and stuff like that. And I'm giving him 8 because after my cringy interaction with him last week.
What happened?
Well, my mate texted me and said, "Oh, he's in Winchester. If you want to like, I just saw him in Winchester." So I'm there like walking around trying to find him. And I thought, right, now I'm just going to go back to work. And as I go back to work, he was on the phone down this little sort of not alleyway, but it's like there's like a couple of cafes down there. And he was on the phone, and I don't know why I did it. And like he sort of turned around, and I kind of like peered round him, and I went, "Super Matty Ritchie," and he looked at me like, "All right, mate. Yeah, see you later." I was like, I've cringed ever since, so I've got to give him an 8.
It was probably on the phone calling the police.
Yeah, probably.
It's a weird bloke following me.
Big balding matey.
I gave him a 7. It's basically the same as you guys, but it's just more of into context of the other ratings I've given the other players. Next one, another absolute waste of space. Sammy Silvera.
Oh dear.
I gave him a 1.
I'm just being nice. I'll give him a 2.
4.
He got a 1 from me. if another championship side is willing to loan someone out that early, it's not a good sign.
It was always a worrying sign.
Yeah.
To be your first signing to be a loan that early was like, if they're happy not to even bother looking at him in pre-season.
No, he started quite a few games for them last year.
No, I mean, we loaned him. What was it? He was our first signing, wasn't he?
I think
so. Yeah.
So normally with loans, they go, "Oh, we just want to keep him around pre-season, in case of injuries, in case we end up wanting to keep him." With him, they're like, "Yeah, have him, take him. We don't care. We don't give a shit."
I'm just looking at his record at Blackpool. Blackpool, right? Started 3 games, sub 12.
Yeah,
That's in League One.
And that's the part of sometimes when you bring players over from Australia, it doesn't work. But yeah, 1. What last winger saved the best till last? Josh Murphy.
9, maybe a 9.5. Actually, I'm going to give him a 9.5.
1, I think.
That is 0.
I think, like I said, 9.5, maybe into a 10. I just think, he was unbelievable, wasn't he? Like, I always knew he was going to kick on. But yeah, he was different level. And the fact that he's finished top of the assist record, for a team that obviously were battling relegation up until like the 2 or 3 last games of the season, is absolutely unbelievable. And he's one of 3 players that I felt that if he wasn't they were in the team, I really dread to think what would have happened.
9.5 for me, and I spoke loads about him earlier, but yeah, what a player.
Yeah, he got a 9, is the highest rating of me. Just, yeah, unbelievable. Right. Christian Sadie.
I'll give him a 7, just because he always give. I'm not a big lover of his ability in the Championship, but boy, does he give everything on that pitch, doesn't he? Even if it's not paying off. So for that, I'm quite happy to give him a 7. And I still think he's the most likeable Pompey player in terms of personality since Linvoy prior to this.
Yeah, for me, 7 as well. Like, I actually think that. I think he might kick if he stays around. That is, I think he might be able to kick on next season if we do, and he gets more opportunities. I think he just needed to get a little bit used to the physicality, because obviously he's a very physical player and he's really good at keeping hold of the ball. But I think obviously it's a different kettle of fish in the Championship, and I think he, especially from how well he played when he came on against Hull, I think he might have been getting a bit used to that. So I'm going to give him a 7.
7 for me as well. He just got something that he does something that no other player can do, isn't it? This physicality, the power. He can hold on to the ball. He can keep the ball in the corner flag like we saw against Watford. And he was brilliant to watch against Hull, wasn't he? He was on top of his game that day. They couldn't handle him at all. Bouncing off him, it was fantastic. And unfortunately he's more of an impact player, isn't he, than affecting games starting. But he's still only young, and I really like Sadie.
So I only gave him a 5. I think he did all right in the last few games of the season. It's probably his best football, but I thought some parts of the season he was fairly ineffectual. I would be tempted to sell him as well in the summer. Just worried about the bridging that. You want to bridge that gap between the first team and the next. I know obviously with his bunda he can hold up the ball well, but yeah, I'd be tempted to sell if the right kind of offer comes in, and he needs to play more football than he probably has this season as well. Callum Lang.
8. Would have been up there for player of the season if he ain't got injured.
I'm just for
the way I look at it is, whilst everyone was dead and injured, he was the one keeping us going.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to give him a 9, especially like after the Coventry game and that sort of stuff. I just felt that you could see the little bit of difference in how he set up after he got injured against Oxford. But I think he played enough for the season to get a 9.
An 8.5 for me. He single-handedly carried the Pompey attack in the first half of the season when you had people like Silveris, Sorensen, Paddy Lane, and this guy carried Pompey. I don't know what Pompey would have done without him in the first half of the season. And also O'Shea's couldn't get anywhere near him, could he, when he came in as a replacement, which shows you what a good player Callum Lang is.
Yeah, he got an 8 from me. I mean, you looked, just reminded, when we signed him from Wigan, you had Wigan fans telling us he wasn't even good enough for League One. Have some of that, you twats. That's the funny thing when you sign some players, isn't it? They're so bitter and they're like, oh, he's shit. You should just wait until you see him. He's just another one of those players that just gets it. He's like an unadopted Scouser Pompey boy, like quality player. Right, into the strikers to finish off. We'll go Marco Mani.
I gave him a 6.5. He always done all right, just weren't available enough.
Yeah, I gave him a 6. I mean, Stoke City goal might have been important. Like, it kind of gets the run of the play, so you'd like to think that we could have kicked on off that, but we didn't. But it was a really important goal against Oxford, sealed the deal, and absolutely killed Oxford. I thought he did all right, but yeah, I think he's got a lot to learn.
3 goals in 13 games isn't bad, really, is it, for his first loan away, in fairness? That lovely finish at Oxford. He had his injuries, didn't he? I think it was quite telling that he never played for Pompey again after Coventry. Clearly didn't impress the manager that night. And, did all right, but he was never going to be a stand-in for Colby Bishop, was he?
No, I gave him a 4. I know it was his first loan, and I can't give him a little bit of leeway, but just the availability and very rarely made any real impact. But he did do slightly better than the next player. Oh my God.
What?
Sorry. Pedro Porro's just scored a cross, but he scored it. Why not? The next player who was even worse is Cassini Yengi.
Talk about a real disappointment. He could be no more than a 2 because he didn't do anything. He literally did nothing. He could be even a 1, but where I love him, I can't help. You still have these affiliations for these players, even if they've had bad seasons. I mean, because of last season. But disappointing, probably the most disappointing player this season, in my opinion, anyway.
I'll give him a 3. My lowest mark by far. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful, see. Injured. When he plays, he doesn't look like he wants it. I just don't know what's happened to him. Perhaps he's just not good enough for this level. Simple as that. He did so well last year for Pompey. One of the pivotal players coming off the bench, scoring goals. This year, just not at it. Nothing. In fact, watch John Messina when he's on the pitch. A lot of the time, he's going crazy at Yengi. A lot of the time.
He just couldn't. He looked like he couldn't be bothered. There was that. I can't remember when it was. He was up front and he was kind of just slowly trotting back like he couldn't be bothered to get back on side. Whereas
that was a home game, wasn't it? It was a home game, yeah.
Yeah, if he'd actually got back, he'd have been through 1-on-1 with the keeper.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that was Leeds, wasn't it?
Was it Leeds?
He come on against Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only game this season where he really looked like he tried was when Bishop was on the bench versus Preston, because he realised, oh shit, I need to actually bother.
No, he only tried to start the second half after that Rollicking. He was dreadful first half.
I just don't understand it, because someone that was last year obviously did so well. Some people thought he was better than Bishop, not quite, but a very good second striker. This season, he's just someone that's got to play for a contract and try and prove himself. I don't know whether he thinks he's made it and thinks, I'm a championship footballer, I don't need to try anymore. I think there's a slight attitude problem. There could be like homesickness involved, being the other side of the world's kicked in, I don't know. But this season just really hasn't worked.
He's had 14 games, no goals.
But no, I don't even think he did any. Did he even have a shot?
It's so disappointing, isn't it? So disappointing.
Yeah.
He's probably made a few TikToks in that time, though.
Does he still do that?
I've no idea.
But also, again, I mentioned it earlier on, he wasn't on the bench for the last 2 games, and the lone players were.
Yeah,
That is
when you
damning.
saw that, that's when you know he's going to be released on this retained list that comes out. He's going to be on the release list because that's all you need to. Those last few games is what you can judge by. Messino's seen enough to say, "No, see you later."
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
Another disappointing signing was Elias Sorensen.
Oof.
He gets a bit more just because of his goal against Leeds. I'll give him a 4.
I'm just going to give him a 5, I think. You never know what could have happened if he'd have scored that penalty at home to Oxford. Like, he could have maybe pushed on more then, but yeah, 5.
3.5 for me. Do you know what? I remember Cardiff away, and in football, kids football as well, and men's football, if a player on the pitch never touches the ball, you don't even know they're there, that's the time to be worried. And he wasn't there. It was just like, is he playing? Where is he? And I've seen a lot of people saying he wasn't given a chance. There's a reason why he wasn't given that many chances.
I think
He
people
was
forget that
rubbish.
Messino
Dreadful.
sees these in training as well, doing.
Dreadful. He's just nowhere near the standard. And Henson, he barely played before he was bombed out either. They've admitted they made a mistake. Fine, everyone makes mistakes. He was just nowhere near good enough. That's why he wasn't played that much. And he could have played every game. He's still rubbish.
Yeah.
At this level.
Yeah,
At this level.
it felt like he was a bit of a rush signing just to have an extra body in to cover for Bishop.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
And I don't think if Bishop didn't have his heart issues and he was fully fit, I don't think we would have signed Sorensen. But he wasn't good enough. The fact that we managed to pretty much get our money back is pretty decent business to recover from the mistake.
It wasn't, yeah.
But he gets a 3 from me. The only reason he gets a 3 rather than a 2 is the fact he scored our first goal back in the Championship.
Yeah,
after 12 year hiatus.
I mean, he deserves credit for that because Yengi didn't even score, did he? So at least Sorensen scored, and at least Sorensen put a bit of effort in.
He did try.
Yeah.
He did try. Just the ability's not there for Championship.
No, and it was also terrible in the air as well. It's just that there's a reason why he wasn't played that much, and the manager knows because he sees him in training, which we don't. So
last two, Tommy Waddingham.
I really like the look of him, but hard to judge. But what I saw of him, I didn't know what to give him because I want to give him 5.5 because he's just above average. But I do think he looks a player.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 10. 10? I don't think about 10 then. I'm going to give him a 5. Again, like coming over the other side of the world, a bit like Hayden Matthews, but obviously he didn't have as much of an impact. That's not really down to his fault, I don't think. But yeah, I'm going to give him a 5. There's definitely some potential there, and I hope he has a good pre-season and then, pushes on.
Yeah, give him a 6. Another one who scored more goals than Yengi. I think Rob Atkinson scored more goals than Yengi, didn't he? But yeah. So I'm going to give him a 6. Encouraging. I thought he had a decent full debut against Coventry, but the pace of the game got him very early in the second half, and he actually came off, and then he got injured, didn't he? One for the future. It's too early to judge him now, but encourage him.
Yeah, I gave him a 5. I think again he's another one for the future, kind of like Kamara and Blair. It was nice that he got his early goal against West Brom. Then obviously playing a bit more, I think he'll be really good as a next season as a third choice striker to kind of bed in. We'll be looking for a second striker next season. I think Bishop is your number 1, someone to challenge him with Waddingham as the third. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm talking to Bishop. He's our final player, Russ.
9. He's been like, I think I see a stat where if you took all their goals from when he came back, I think he scored more than anyone else. Is that right? Or only the Leeds players scored more than him? And it just like what he's gone through, and to come into a level he's never played before, and just be. And it's never always just about his goals. People always moan about, he should score more, blah, blah, blah. But he makes us work. And there's no coincidence. The moment he come back was the moment everything changed.
Yeah, I've given him 10. That's what I was getting too excited for, like. But yeah, no, I'm definitely giving Bishop a 10. It's not just his goals and stuff like that. Again, it's like he allows us to play a certain way. Like obviously, I know we went the way away from playing out from the back as much, and we couldn't have done that without Bishop because he's that focal point. You can put the ball up in the air to him around 2 to 3 championship centre backs, and he will always cause them issues. And then he also gets himself in the box and scores goals. And I think if he was, I'm not saying he's slow, but I think if he just had that little bit extra pace, he would be all round perfect number 9. And I hope he never leaves.
And I gave him a 9. You don't really have much else to say apart from what you guys have said. He's just unbelievable player. And if he had a full season of being fully fit and everything, I think he generally would have probably reached 20 goals again this season. And lastly, I think we should just finish off with...
I haven't said anything about... I've not mentioned Bishop yet.
Oh, have you not? Oh, sorry.
No.
Go on.
You jumped the queue.
Sorry.
I was at the bar and you jumped the queue. Oh, yeah, Bishop, I'll give him a 9. I still struggle to comprehend how this time last year we're having endless debates over who was better, Yengi or Bishop. Social media has so many of them. I've always been Bishop because Bishop's more of a team player, better around the place, more complete striker. Yengi is just sort of chaos, really, isn't he? Causes problems. And we've seen that this year, how much better a player Bishop is to Yengi. And the stat is, I wrote about it the other day, Pompey won 1 game in 16 before he came back from injury. Then only 8 teams scored more points than Pompey from that point onwards.
There you go.
Staggering. That's Colby Bishop. That's what he gives Pompey. That's how he transformed their season. Forget Sorensen up front. Forget Omani up front. Forget Yengi up front. Forget Sadie up front at Middlesbrough. Bishop was the one that changed Pompey's season. Future Hall of Famer, without doubt. Some people still don't like him. I know some people say, "Oh, he scores penalties." Are we criticising strikers for scoring penalties now?
It's a modern day thing. Tappings and penalties don't count anymore.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Yeah. It is absolutely bizarre. John Marquis got taken off penalties. He missed that many. Bishop, he's such an important player on and off the pitch. Really integrated with the area as well. Lives in Hilsey. What a great guy. What a comeback. What a story. What a fairy tale from what he's gone through. Brilliant. Fantastic.
That is it. And lastly, I think we should finish off with the manager. We'll go over John Messina.
10. He's the only one who gets a 10. To adapt the way he has for someone with not any experience of managing more than just a season and a bit beforehand, and to realise so many managers are stubborn. It's that they play that way and that's it. And they refuse to change it. Messina went, no, this ain't working. I'm changing it. And what a job he's done. Outstanding.
Yeah, literally, I'm going to go for a 10 as well. I was going to go about 100. I mean, he's the reason I wear a quarter zip. I just love the way he carries himself as well. With some managers, cause obviously Russ has covered all the football side of things. When you listen to him, it makes sense, and you don't feel like you're being bullshitted to. Some managers, even though I love the Cowleys, like Danny Cowley would sort of feel like he was going around it, like Jacket, obviously personality of the year. I just feel that he's learnt on the job. He's learnt so quickly. And I think a lot of credit for John Messina also has to go to Rich Hughes to pull him out of where he was, to see his potential in him. I hope we keep hold of him for a lot longer, but I feel maybe one more season and I think he's going to get snapped up, and no one could begrudge him. Brilliant guy, and judging from the charity game, can still play a little bit as well. So, 10 for me.
Yeah, well, I'll give it 9. I can't give it 10, but 9. He's been brilliant, hasn't he? He's adapted. A lot of Premier League managers, such as Russell Martin, Postecoglou, they've been criticised for not adapting, for being too stubborn, as the phrase, isn't it? And Messina's adapted. He's learnt. I was still seeing stuff on social media at times about how he should have been sacked, and you think, what?
There's no point throughout this season. I always thought, even after being beaten by Stoke, even if we got relegated, I still would have kept him on.
Yeah. He's got, obviously one of the lowest budgets, first time managing at the championship level. He's such an impressive person. The way he carries himself, the way he deals with issues publicly. He never snaps, he never panics, he never gets frustrated. He always appears in control of the situation. Clearly a very good man manager, knows how to handle players, knows how to handle the media, knows how to handle the fans. He's been magnificent. And one of you guys mentioned about Rich Hughes. I mean, what a left field appointment Rich Hughes made, but what judgment. Rookie manager, all that business, outstanding.
Yeah, he got a 9 from me as well. I mean, just what a guy. Literally, I love the man. And that's all I have to say.
Neil, where would you rate him, or maybe not rate him, but obviously you get to be around the managers. Where would you put him alongside all, even going back as far as Redknapp in terms of the way he comes across and manages and stuff?
The first manager I had was Claridge. So
Bit hot tempered.
the top 3 for me would be, in no particular order, Messino, Redknapp, and Paul Cook.
But even after all the shots he had at you.
Yeah, but he had a moan at me, and it wasn't even my story.
Yeah, that
and
was
it wasn't even in the news. It was someone else's. Hampshire Live, I think it was.
That's when he went, "You write some shite, you, don't you?"
Yeah, and it wasn't even. It was like. I remember after the game, I went up to him. I said, "What was all that about? It's nothing to do with me." And he shook me hand and goes, "Oh, and he was fine." And I got the article and I took a screenshot and sent it to Gary Roberts, who was their assistant. I was saying, "Look, this has got a byline. It's not even my byline on it. Why do you think I wrote it?"
weird.
But he was such a character, Paul Cook. So many great stories about Paul Cook and things, and he's definitely up there for me. So I've been fortunate. There's been a lot of good managers, not many bad ones, in fairness, to deal with.
Only Paul Hart.
Yeah, Paul Hart. Yeah. So, it's difficult to say because John Messina is still in the job, and you look at it differently if he leaves. But he's absolutely outstanding still, with really, really good. Everyone loves dealing with him. It's not difficult, is it? You just treat the press with a bit of respect. Don't pick fights. Don't snap at us. Don't treat us like twats. It's really not. It's just a human thing, isn't it? You can't go around picking fights with people and then moan when they don't like it, which Paul Cook did, and several managers done the same. You've got to treat people right, and they would look after you and treat you right, especially the press. It's just basic, isn't it, really? And we've been fortunate for a long time now. We've worked with a lot of good managers: Cook, Jackett, Cowley, Messino. I think times have changed as well. How managers come across. PR. Cowley was a master at PR, wasn't he? So we've had some good managers in that period. So he's a very, very impressive man.
Right, that is our player ratings done. Thank you very much, Neil. We appreciate you giving up an hour and 45 of your evening.
Oh no, it's been epic, isn't it?
A lot of players.
Hopefully
be less next season.
Yeah, well, using 39 players, it's quite a lot of people to go through, isn't it? So.
Yes, no, thanks for inviting me on anyway.
That's
all right. Pleasure having you, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
And I look forward to seeing the picture in the Southampton shirt.
Oh yes.
Weirdly, I've if my account gets deactivated, it's not my fault.
No. You have to create a new one.
All right, many thanks, chaps.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much,
Neil.
Neil.
Yeah,
Cheers.
cheers, Neil. Thanks,
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers,
So, guys, should we leave it there? Because getting on a bit now, isn't it?
Yeah, you can leave it there. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah? Or did you want to
do a...
Harry Grabber?
We'll do Harry's Who Am I? Go on.
We'll finish with
Let's
that
do a quick fire. Let's do a quick fire.
That's right. Get that out of the way. Right. Clue number 1 for Harry's Who Am I? I missed my first 3 games at Pompey due to a suspension carrying over from my previous club.
Oh, this rings a bell, actually.
It does, yeah. Relatively recent, not relatively recently, but...
Not that Mike Williamson, is it?
Is that your guess?
Yeah, I'll go that. I don't know why it's creeping to me. Does ring a bell, though.
Mike Williamson. Is it... can't remember. Who had a similar name in League One like Williamson? He was centre mid.
Lee Williams. Is it Lee Williamson? Went off to America.
Is that his name? Yeah.
Sure.
I've got him, mate. Or, is it Lee Williamson?
Clue number 2. I have played with Darren Anderton, Jerome Thomas and Ricky Holmes, but not at Pompey.
Darren Anderton and Jerome Thomas. Jerome Thomas,
I did,
yes. That's the mate from Charlton, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was Charlton.
So he was Arsenal Academy.
Charlton. So,
and then who was the third player? I always forget the third player.
Ricky Holmes.
Ricky Holmes. So what was Ricky Holmes?
Northampton. Was he at Northampton when they got promoted at our place? Ooh, no.
Did he play for? I'm sure he played. Where did we get Ricky Holmes from? And they like Barnet or something like that. Northampton. He played. I think he played for Charlton as well. It might be where he ended his career. Oh no, didn't he go to Sheffield United with Chris Wilder? Because that's where he was with Northampton with, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I was thinking of like Danny Rose, wasn't it?
Oh, the 3 red card, the suspension carrying over really rings a bell.
Yeah.
Darren Anderson. So what's that? Bournemouth at the end of his career, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna bug me.
Might have to quick guess. Ooh. This is a tough one. 3 game thing, that's going to really annoy me.
I remember I signed someone and they had a suspension.
Do you think it's like a bad boy of football somewhere? Do you think it's like a Wes Thomas? Have we already had a Wes Thomas?
Right, yeah, we did. Yeah.
Didn't we?
You know what, just to speed up, I know it's not, but I'm just going for someone like Ricardo Rocha just because it's the sort of thing he would have done. Ricardo Rocha? Yeah. I just want to hear the third question now.
Just trying to think of players who played that. Jason Pearce.
Oh, brilliant. I knew it was someone like, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I remember now. But
you and your Hail Marys, honestly.
As soon as you said Jason Pearce, I was like, yes, that's it. That's who it was.
So he played with Darren Anderton at Bournemouth.
Yep.
He played with Jerome Thomas at Leeds. And he played with Ricky Holmes at Charlton.
Oh, lovely. Fantastic.
Nice one. Nice quick one and all.
Yeah. Boom. We are having another one next week, is it? Is that our last one?
We definitely have one more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not sure what we're going to do, but we'll definitely do one more.
Yeah, cool. We'll figure something. It'd be nice to round it all off. But yeah, we all good?
That's it. Yeah, let's finish up, wrap it up.
Lovely. Yep. All right, cheers, guys. Well, it was a nice long one. But yeah, enjoyed it. Yeah, cheers, Haz, and cheers, Russ, for tonight. Apart from the forfeit, obviously.
Fully deserved.
But yeah, thank you very much. But yeah, join us next week. And I think it's going to be our last one till the end of the season, till next season, or pre-season anyway. Might pop up every now and again through the summer if we're bored. But yeah, cheers, guys. See you next week. And as ever, let Pompey.